everyone. Good morning, first of all. I want to apologize for not being there. I wanted to hug some of you all so bad. It's upsetting me, but at least I get to communicate this way. And thank you for allowing me to do that. I'm going to turbo speed this to try to get as much information in as I possibly can. There is something very vital when we're talking about human trafficking, and I'm going to give you some myths that we're going to bust that probably some of you most know anyway, but to give us talking points. And then I'm going to go shift to how do you communicate with somebody that has been trafficked? What's the best thing to do? What's the best thing not to do? How do you touch base with them? How do you keen in to who they are without offending them, pushing them away, scaring them, and they get in that flight mode and run off? We talk about some myths um, that if we think that, and you are in the trenches of this, you're in the foxholes, you're actually out there doing the work. Um, a lot of us uh, hear about the work. I trained a lot of police officers around the country, a lot of counselors, teachers, uh, medical professionals, and they're actually, you all are doing the work. The rubber on the road, you're slinging the sweat. People like Doug and I get to hear about it, present about it, um, and I think the only thing that gives me some expertise in this is that I was a survivor of it. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But human trafficking is not only an international problem. Matter of fact, it has slipped in to the United States in such a huge way that we need to be aware, not only on those border states, not only on the ones that's like New Mexico and Texas and Louisiana and then you go to California and all those. It's everywhere. I grew up in Southern Illinois in a little small neighborhood. Um, and I was trafficked for years in my own bedroom. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But it's not just an international problem, it's a national reality. Now, this is from Polaris project. And I don't like some of these dots on here because this is about a couple years old map. I believe there's some dots that have expanded and exploded. This needs to be updated, but it's amazing that you can't find uh, current, up-to-date information as of last year yet. It's still 2022 is about the most recent that we can get. Doug may have better updated information, but it's not just an international problem. It's a United States of America problem. And we need to look at this as a national crisis, folks, because it's happening everywhere. The second one, it only happens on the streets. Thanks for playing. No way does it only happen on the streets. It's happening. I can go, I'm in this is my penthouse here at the Texas Medical Center. Uh, I work just right across the street over there. There's my grand piano that I play to ease my stress. But I can go right down right now, right down on the corner of this street, right below us, 19 floors down. And there's people on the street corner right now begging for money. And as I was pulling in from the medical center just a while ago, on the street corner up a block was a young lady and her child begging for money. Now, I don't know about everybody else's heart, but I start reaching for my wallet when I see a baby on the street corner with their mom. But chances are, I'm wise enough to know that they were probably dropped off in a van this morning and it'll be picked up at 4 o'clock this afternoon. That's their corner to work. They are being trafficked. And it's not necessarily sex trafficking. It is beg trafficking. I mean, they're begging for survival and using that baby as a pawn in the game. And then you can go down 2 more blocks down here off Holcomb, and there's about 4 or 5. Every street strip mall has a massage parlor. chances are 9 out of 10 of those massage parlors are being venues for human trafficking. Hotels, Red Roof Inn is famous in Houston for not only being a hotel, but being a place that you can actually go for sex right there in their hotel rooms. And I'm also aware that Houston and New Mexico has this too. Um, the uh, the workforce of being labored trafficking. We forget that a lot of times, and we overlook human trafficking and we only think of it as being sex, but it's also in the harvest fields. It's also in the maid servants that are actually lawn care services. The restaurants are using labor services. And basically, what they do, at least here in Houston, and we're one of the hubs for trafficking, is that they'll get you here across the border and they'll take your paperwork and promise you jobs and promise you legality in the next few months if you'll just work 40 hours a week for them. And come to find out, those promises often turn into lies and it's coercion of trying to get you to put in more time. And eventually, you never get in to that paperwork to where you're legal whatsoever. And the online reality of this is unbelievable. Our pimps don't have to be out trying to find people in the bad parts of town now to recruit. They are recruiting online. And if your child is on the phone or on your laptop, online gaming for more than 15 minutes solid at one time, there's somebody already starting to look at your child. I want to let you know what child isn't online 15 minutes at any given time, especially in the middle of the night, in chat rooms, in these games that they have. It's an online reality. The pimps now can do it from their home, and they're doing that in a massive way. That you may know all about it more than what I do, but it is an absolute. You can get on, you can't in Texas, thank goodness, but you can get on Pornhub in another state. In Texas, it's outlawed, but you can get on any porn site that is legal to be able to get on in Texas, and it'll show up. And if you're on there for any time at all, it'll come up with a little ad off to the side. Hey, I'm right down the street. You want to hook up? And if you ever hit that, you are automatically in that system of starting to get emails, starting to get text pop-ups, starting to get screen pop-ups on your video games and on your laptop or your iPad, whatever you're actually using on your phone. And that's the way they get you. And if you download a video or watch a video with intention or not, they automatically know, hey, wait, do you want to get this live? And they start inundating you with these ads. And all it takes is a click. And they know where you're located at. They know your information. They have a GPS on it. They know exactly, what your address is. And it's becoming horrendous in our country. But it's not just the pimps. It's not just the bad guys in the bad neighborhoods. This is my father. He was on the trustee board of our church. He was the president of Lions Club. And there I am at 11 years old on the Little League team. And he had his arm around me for this picture. We're in our backyard there, right beside a swimming pool. And I want to let you know that I was being trafficked from the 11 years old all the way through 14 years old in my bedroom every Monday night from 5 o'clock to 10 p.m. I couldn't do any athletics at school. I couldn't do any church activities. I couldn't do, oh, by the way, my dad was a church trustee too. I couldn't work. I had a little dishwashing job. I couldn't do anything, any activities on Monday night. I had to be in my room with a stack of beach towels waiting for that first person to walk through my room. And when they walked through my room, it may have been one man, it may have been one woman, it may have been a man and a woman, two men, two women. It didn't matter. They would do with me whatever they wanted. I would just have enough time to take that beach towel and wipe myself down before the next one would walk in. It would happen 5 hours every Monday night. I don't want to expand the story and try to blow wind up anybody's skirts and expand it to what, to try to get it astronomical numbers. But real numbers, 10 to 13, 14 people, couples came into my room every Monday night, without exaggeration. That's real life being raped, being abused, being manipulated in such a way, being sold by my own father um, every Monday night for money. And they had a little, let me grab it. Hang on just a second. Sorry about that, but I will just be down to earth here today. My dad and I, after everybody was gone at 10 o'clock, would sit around the dining room table. He would count his stacks of bills. I had this little, and I found this the other day, and I about went into a coronary conniption fit. I had this little Superman cup, and this is the actual cup I found in storage just the other day. I had on my bedroom dresser. When they would leave, they would throw 50-cent piece, a quarter, a dollar bill in my Superman cup on the way out after sexually abusing me and go, hey, thanks, kid, and walk out and then pay dad the big bucks. And then I would take this cup and meet dad after it was over. Dad would say, okay, Greg, that's it. And I would go out on the dining room table, pour out my Kennedy half dollars, my $1 bills, and I would count mine and dad would count his. That's how we spent every Monday night. And it's happening. The thing that I really want to drill into you right now is we lived in an all white, upper middle class neighborhood. I lived in a home where my dad here drove a Lincoln Continental. My mom drove a Cadillac. And we had to look at the life here, the pictures. Looks like I had a great life, right? But it happened over and over and over. And I was sexually abused by my dad until I was almost 17 years old. From the earliest memory I ever had, every single day since I was 4 that I can remember, 4.5, that I can remember, every single day, I was sexually abused by him. But that 11 to 14 years of age, in my early teenage years, I was being trafficked by my own dad in my own bedroom. Unbelievable. It doesn't happen on the bad side of town. It happens everywhere, everywhere. So I want to, if you don't get anything out of this today, I want to cause you, and I wish I was eyeball to eyeball with you. I really do. Not only to hug people, but to eyeball you. I want you to have a different set of eyes today. I want you to recognize that this kind of life that looks so rosy with so many kids out there, with so many individuals, don't overlook them because they very well could be trafficked too. Human trafficking doesn't only, it's a myth, happen to females, folks. I am one of those. Why did it take me so long to tell? Why are boys often overlooked? The shame and stigma. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what I was for years. I mean, my relationships went to the toilet so often because I didn't know what was going on. My friendships went to hell in a handbasket because I didn't know how to handle all this. And we overlook boys. And you can get on the internet right now and say, hey, the statistics shows us that 1 out of 4 females and 1 out of 6 boys before the age of 18 are sexually abused, not trafficked necessarily, but sexually abused. But I don't think those statistics are even close to being right. I believe 50% of our population are being sexually abused and traumatized at any given time, boys or girls, men or women. And we overlook the men. And there's a misconception that boys are not generally victims. I think I speak this year, 2025, I'm speaking 240 times. It's not because I'm a good speaker. It's because there's not many men talking about it. I get 3 to 5 requests every day. I got a couple while I was waiting, and I say, hey, if I'm available, I'll be there. But if not, I can't. But it's not because I'm a good speaker. It's because there's not that many men speaking about it. It is a huge problem, and we need to deal with it. And this myth of what the trafficker looks like, it's not this pimp in a pink Cadillac and a velvet suit. Anymore, it's people like R. Kelly, P. Diddy, CEOs, Jeffrey Epstein's, Weinstein, um, quarterbacks of the Texans football team, which is the Texas Stadium's right there. It's happening to movie stars. They're getting involved. I think once all of this comes down, and I won't get in saying this very long, once this all goes down with some of our entertainers, we're going to see some of our most famous and loved entertainers being involved in this. It is huge. It is absolutely huge. So what do we do? How do we find out? How do we recognize? And then I want to skip into how do we talk to them? How do we communicate with them? What's some of the red flags with people that are being human trafficked, even though I didn't have any of these? So I want to make sure that's why I presented my part up front. But in some of these that are being trafficked in the massage parlors, I just did a documentary. I taped a documentary for Netflix, and it's getting ready to come out, I think, in the next month or two. There's a street right here in Houston that's just right down the road here called Telephone Road. Matter of fact, I'm going to be traveling down Telephone Road to go to the funeral home that I have to do the funeral at. I drive by 3 places that are supposedly bars and nightclubs that are actual human trafficking businesses. Matter of fact, you can rent, go through and take a tour bus here in Houston. One of the organizations will take you by all the places in Houston that are known to be trafficking women and men. Why don't they shut them down? I don't know, but it's evident. And we talk about that in this documentary, that we can't legalize this because that's what they're wanting to do. We need to not only arrest the people that are involved in it, but we need to arrest the people that are being a purchaser in it, and then also arrest the people that are turning their heads against it. I think we need to get that in such a way. But if you notice on these folks, and when I do training with the medical doctors and nurses and EMTs and dentists, I always talk about these tattoos and branding marks. I'm going to show you this. The one that's underneath the lip, that's right here in the bottom right. I go to San Antonio and do orthodontist and dental training for human trafficking. And some of them said, oh, wait, I've seen this. It's a UPC code underneath their lip. What's that all about? What do you think it's all about? It is a UPC code that's in their inside lip that indicates to them they are property of somebody. If you see some of this, you're going to understand these are big, huge red flags. They use street lingo with references to the game, the life. They may have a lack of identification. If you are a police officer or a nurse or a doctor today and you ask for the ID, oh, I don't have it with me. Where do you normally keep it? And they give you some instance of, oh, I lost it. That's usually a red flag. Now, don't automatically pick up the phone and call the police, but it ought to alert you to have a different set of eyes on. If they have a dominating or controlling boyfriend, I work at Texas Children's right down the road here. We changed just in the OB-GYN department, just in the OB-GYN department. We always ask this question when the woman is coming in to have a baby. They're being triaged, they're getting ready to go upstairs and deliver. We always ask a question. And it's always in the presence of their husband or boyfriend. Does your baby and do you have a safe place to return home to? We would get 1 to 2% responses of no. We said in a committee meeting, what in the world are we doing asking this question in front of the man? So we came up with the game plan. Hey, send them over across the room to pick up the name tags that are being printed at another location, just down, just across the room. And while they are over there, now ask them that question. Wait till they are away. Oh, okay, yeah, I'll go get the name tags. He goes, gets the name tag, and immediately our stats went up to 12 to 13%, just in that one minor move. That is huge because that boyfriend that refuses to leave is in control. That boyfriend is their owner. Or if they claim they're just visiting the area and they don't know what their home address is. Really? We need to ask more questions and communicate. Some of the branding in the tattoos have crowns on them. Now, you may have a crown on you. I have an eagle on my backside. I don't want it. That's the first time I've ever said that publicly. But yeah, I do. I have a tattoo of an eagle. I love eagles. But crown, doesn't necessarily always indicate, but crowns are used a lot. And so's dollar signs, so's UPC codes, so are places. And this one here, if I'm lying, I'm dying. They're right there, the property of M. Fenton. This isn't a normal tattoo. We're letting the world know this person is somebody's property. It ought to alert us. Let us know that something's not quite right in the way they talk, calling friends family names. Oh, he's my daddy. Family. Oh, that's the folks. Wifey is huge. A bottom. The lifestyle. A kiddie track. Oh, we're caught up in a case. Reckless eyeballing, choosing up. And this Romeo versus gorilla pimp. This type of stuff is being talked about all the time, and it's overlooked. Additional red flags. If they look one age, but they're telling you they're another. If they have a resistance to gynecological exam. I don't know of any woman that wants one, but if they resist it, it is an automatic sign. If they're homeless, if they're chronic runaway, if they're traveling with a much older male, in the presence of an older boyfriend or an older peer, if there's obviously evidence of sexual abuse, and the fact that you know more than I do, and I'm sure they'll give you more updated information today, that over 40% of sex trafficking survivors are Native Americans or First National women. Folks, this is a huge problem in that population, and we need to be aware of that. We need to be aware and alert of that. Now, how do you communicate with them? First of all, I want to let you know words matter. I have interviewed for this training session, not for just this one, but to create this training session. I interviewed over 75 human trafficking survivors. And I asked them this general 100 question. It wasn't quite 100 questions. And this is how I came up with how best to communicate with survivors, with people that are involved in it, people that are involved in human trafficking now. And they, in the way we interact with them, was vitally important. So most of this stuff is their words. Even with the best intentions, they often feel triggered or tokenized. So how we talk, how we address, how we look at them, how we deal with them and communicate with them is absolutely crucial. Words are free, but the way you use them is going to cost you a lot. The words we use can prevent victims from recognizing that they're even in a trafficking situation. I didn't even know that I was trafficked, lying or dying. And you can read my first book that came out 5 or 6 years ago. I don't mention one thing in there about being trafficked. I mentioned in there that there's some skeletons in my closet, but I didn't even know I was being trafficked until I had a trafficking survivor on my radio show on Sunday night, on a live radio show about 4 years ago, mention being trafficked. And I said, well, good night. My dad did that to me when I was 11 to 14 years old. And they said, Greg, you were trafficked. I said, what? And it didn't even read to me. It wasn't even a reality to me because we use the words like being rescued. And even the words human trafficking, I don't particularly like because it separated a group of people from me. I was sold for sex out of my bedroom. If somebody were to ask me, hey, have you ever been sold for sex? Well, yeah, all the time when I was a kid. But to put it in human trafficking terms, it went over my head. And here I was, the chairman of United Against Human Trafficking here in Houston. I didn't know it meant me too. I wasn't rescued. And sometimes we use that word, it brings to mind a victim that we have to bust the door down and unchain them from a bedpost and save them from. That's not the way majority of the human trafficking is being done today. Yeah, was I duct taped to my bed? Yeah, several times. My brother duct taped me to my brother, his girlfriend duct taped me to the bed, but it wasn't the handcuffs and being in a barred area for me. So sometimes that causes confusion. The words we often use shape the public's perception of human trafficking. We want to break the chains. And it's always paired with photos of restraints and human trafficking, harmful stereotypes of what human trafficking looks like. You know, even when this movie came out, and I'm not going to be able to pull it out, The Sound of Freedom, when that came out,
Yeah.
that was a good movie. Number one, I wish it was more on the United States, that it wasn't in another country. I think that would have been more impactful. And there's some times where they are kidnapped and thrown in a van and taken off to another country, but most of the times it's in our neighborhoods. Most of the times it's in our towns that we grew up in by people that we know. And we need to be aware of that. So it prevents people from self-identifying that they're even victims of being trafficked. And then we use words to elevate a sense of saviorism, being a savior for somebody. We need to stop rescuing people. Traffic survivors don't necessarily need to be saved. They need to be supported.
Very
They need
good.
to leave their situation and have access to services that allow them to rebuild and heal. And sometimes we use that to focus on us. Folks, we need to focus on them, the victims. Yeah, a lot of organizations here in Houston use these terms. Oh, we saved 25 human trafficking survivors, victims last week. Okay, I understand what you're saying. I understand the importance of the numbers. But it would be so much more important to me is we brought into safety and gave support for 25 human beings that have support now, that have access to resources that we want to give them. We need to stop saving them and take the superhero cape off the back of us and put it on the survivor. Not trying to be mean, but I will not go on LinkedIn today and post, hey, I was proud and honored to be part of a Gallup project today. Because what that ends up doing, it ends
Mhm.
up glorifying me. I don't want any part of that. I don't do that. Stop focusing it, that it focuses on us. We need to focus on them and resources and love them and give them the support that they need. And they're telling me they don't want to be saved. They want to have access to some support. Okay. Another one. The words we overlook and also strength. Overlook the strength of the survivors. If you've used this, I don't want to be stepping on your toes, but we need to stop using terms of we want to give the voice to the voiceless.
Mhm.
Survivors, folks, have a voice. It's time that we start shutting up and listening to them. Listen to their voice. And every single one, 100% of those folks that I interviewed for this training told me, I don't need you to talk for me. I just need somebody to listen. Thanks for asking me a question. It's time we shift the focus from us and recognize that every one of these women, men, girls, and boys have resilience inside of them and a courage that is inside of them and start lifting them up.
Mhm.
That is so very important. And now, don't get me wrong here. If your organization does this, I always try to throw this out too. If we ask for survivors and victims to come and speak, train, and tell their story, make sure you compensate them. Make sure you don't pull off a scab and say, oh, thanks. Because if you don't do anything to help them and compensate them whatsoever, you just sold them one more time. You
That's
get the
good.
point?
Also, so good.
Sometimes we're guilty of that. And I don't want to be guilty of that. I want to make sure we support them in every way possible. Now, here's the toolbox. You ready? We need all pull out our measuring tape and take time right now to pause and recognize where you are and what you want to improve. Allow yourself some time in this next few hours that you're going to have with some of the best people in the world to be able to train you on this. Recognize where are you at in this? Is there some things that you can grow from? I wanted to be there because I can learn from Doug so much. Uh, and recognize that none of us have all the answers and recognize that we can actually learn from each
Mhm.
other. That's why I like being in the same room with people to be able to learn from them, each survivor, each victim, each organization. So don't come in today with a pious, I know it all attitude. None of us know it all. The only thing that gives me any kind of expertise isn't because I'm a doctor and have the degrees on my wall. That just means I have more student loans than most people. Means nothing about my intelligence. What gave me the intelligence was I went through hell. I've been there, I done that. I know what hell looks like, smells like, feels like. And because of that, I know what possibly you could be going through it too and what it feels like since you're in it too. And in that, it gives me a little bit of expertise, but not because of my knowledge, because of my experience. We need to pull out a drill, allow ourselves to be open to some new information. Our own stubbornness can hinder our own growth and ability to be able to help other people. Nobody has all the information, like I just said. We need to learn and listen to the people that we are sitting in front of instead of attempting to project our wisdom on them. I counsel teachers and counselors all the time. And I always tell the counselor, if your person that you're counseling starts telling you a story and you cut them off to tell them yours, you shouldn't be in counseling anymore. You need to pause, step back, let them tell their story. It may be the first time they ever did. If you cut them off, if you react, if you go, oh, any type of that, parents, huge. If you get mad and angry when your kid is telling you what happened to them at school, what they were involved with, and you have a reaction, they're going to throw up that brick wall and it'll never come down for you again. So we need to understand the way we listen to them. Body language is so huge, and that's important. We need a level in our toolbox, making sure that we are trauma sensitive and trauma informed. That is huge. It's vital when you're communicating with other people. Recognize that we all have our own baggage. Everybody in that room there has their own baggage. And how you talk to each other, how you listen to me, how I got dressed this morning was because of my baggage. And then we need to not overlook the importance that we must be level to make our best effort with those that have been hurt because everybody, this is Houston, not too many years ago, we had, I use this as an illustration. We had a flood. Harvey, I think, or Ike, I can't remember. We have so many hurricanes here. But this is what it looked like in Houston. Texas Medical Center was, the stop signs were covered with floodwaters, just right down here. Three of my administrative assistants at the medical center in the OB-GYN department lost their homes completely. Now, I'm only telling you this because today, if I was back at the medical center in my office, and if it starts raining, Lily, Trang, and Linda would eventually come to my office and say, hey, Dr. Williams, it's raining outside. And I already know why they're there because they're going like this. Their nerves are shot. 4 or 5 years ago, I would have said, okay, so it's raining. What's the big deal? Get back to your desk and work. But because I know that they lost their homes in a flood, that I recognize now that that sprinkle outside is starting to vibrate inside of them. Oh no, it's happening again. It triggers that inside of them. So now I recognize, and since COVID, one good thing that COVID allowed us to come up with is I know they can work pretty efficiently from home. So now I give them a choice. Hey, Lily, Linda, Trang, do you want to go home and log in and be at your house during this rain? I don't think it's going to amount to anything, but if you want to, you're welcome to. Give them a choice. That's what trauma informed means, that I recognize that we all have baggage. And some of us, this is me. I'm this old lady here in this picture. Some of us have more baggage than others, right? Yes. Some of us that are in the very room sitting with you right now today have baggage. And let me tell you, when you're carrying that baggage, it wears, does it not? It dances on nerves. It cuts through the skin. It causes blisters and it hurts so bad. I need to try to start circling the field here and land the plane. But that's what trauma informed. We need to be aware that we all have baggage. Sandpaper. We need to remove the stigmas and the misconceptions of human trafficking. And I think that we did that early on in this session. Human trafficking is in every area of all of our communities. It's not race. It's not built on class. It's not in certain neighborhoods. We know and we recognize that women aren't the only ones that are victims. And labor trafficking is human trafficking too. We need a socket set. Every person is wired uniquely and has to be communicated with differently. I'm going through right now, I think I'm about 20% through. I'm training all 3,200 Houston police officers and deputies. And through that 3,200, I think I'm only through about 600 of them right now. And on every other Monday, I go and do about another couple hundred. I try to inform them and teach them that when they stop in traffic, a car that accidentally ran a red light or speeding, and they tap on that window, they need to be aware that when that window rolls down, you could be the last straw in that baggage they're carrying. It may not have anything to do with you. It may not have anything to do with you stopping them in traffic. It could be that they're having one of their bad days. And we need to be able to be aware of that and have that in our mindset. And I'm sure they do, especially here in Houston, because they'll shoot you or whatever in Houston. It's crazy. But everybody deals with issues. And we need to understand that the way we communicate with them, don't take it personal. But we need to be very gentle and understanding in that women and men deal with issues differently. Be open-minded, provide equity and equality to all. And what helps one person may actually hurt another person. We need to chisel.
Mhm.
We need to get rid of some of that trash and thoughts that we have. Human trafficking only happens to children. Truth is, research shows that 62% of them are adults. Human trafficking victims will self-identify. Truth is, 50% of victims had contact with healthcare professionals, and not one single one identified themselves as a victim. They're not going to come in and go, hey, huddle up, I'm being trafficked. They're not going to self-identify. We need to be aware of that. We need to have some blueprints in our toolbox, being willing to make a plan of action when human trafficking is recognized. Coalition is a key to overcome the issues, collaborate with other people. But I want to say this too. So many organizations are collaborating that they never get out and start working with the victims. So we can collaborate, but get out of those meetings every now and then, will you? And get to the streets and start helping people. So collaborating is great. Training is great, but make sure we get to the victims too. Every business, every school, every church, every organization should be involved. There's power in unity on this
Mhm.
issue. Huge amount of power. How about some flex tape? You know what flex tape is? I have some right here underneath my sink here. Be careful about personal cracks and watch for, this is huge, vicarious trauma and secondary trauma in you, in you. Having a difficult time talking about your feelings. Are you overeating, undereating? Are you
That's me.
now having difficulty sleeping? Do you have nightmares? Are you worried that you're not doing enough for your clients? Recognize those cracks. That's called vicarious trauma. And I do vicarious trauma workshops all over the country. And it's huge with police officers. It's huge with people that are in social work, that are in these nonprofits, that are dealing with some of this stuff daily, day in and day out. If it, be honest enough to be able to recognize that, are you free floating anger and you're irritated all the time? You can't find joy anymore on things that you once enjoyed? You're feeling trapped. You're blaming others for your work performance. You grow numb with diminished feelings of satisfaction and personal accomplishment. Let me tell you, if you think you're growing numb at work, this is huge. I'm almost done, so hang with me. If you're feeling numb at work, it is impossible to not numb your spouse or your children. This is huge. And this is why I wish I was there in person, because I could be able to eyeball you now and be able to figure out who is dealing with this. You can't numb at work without numbing at home too. So if you're noticing you're numbing at work and you're wondering why your relationships are falling apart at home, it's because it's vicarious trauma. Reach out. And that's why I'll give you my phone number again. I will counsel you for as long as you need, free of charge. That's my cell phone number. I've never charged a dollar for my counseling, and I never will. But I want you to get help. This is for you today, too, not just for those people on the streets that you want to save. This is for you, too. You're all important. We need some clamps in our toolbox to attach yourself to a team for support and encouragement. Every one of us needs support. Every one of us need motivation. Every one of us have something to contribute, and we all deserve success. The strength of a team is each individual member. The strength of each member is the team. Some do's and don'ts. I'm looking at my clock here. Some do's and don'ts when communicating with victims. Do attempt to calm and comfort them. Ask them how they're doing. I was at the visitation last night for the funeral that I'm getting ready to go do. And I hugged the wife. And I said, this is the toughest thing you ever done, isn't it? You hanging in there okay? I didn't go up to the wife and look at the body of her dead husband and go, oh, he looks good. He's 39 years old and he's dead. He doesn't look good. And the wife doesn't need to hear that. But putting my arms around her and just letting her know I'm there, and this is tough, isn't it? This is going to be hard, isn't it? You hanging in there all right? That sincerity, that authenticity is so important when you're dealing with victims of human trafficking. They don't know how to get out of this world. They're looking for somebody to give them some love, care, understanding, not like this and demeaning, but like this to welcome them. Allow the victims the time to tell you what happened. How do they feel? I want to hear this in their own words. Don't put words in their mouth. Give victims back the control that the offender took away. Reassure them that their feelings are normal and natural. Let the victim know that any feelings of anger, distress, frustration, fear, not uncommon. Matter of fact, it's justifiable. Are you kidding? Sure, you're scared. Don't damn them for that. Do be willing to listen and to let them share his or her experience. Be alert for hidden messages and meanings not directly expressed by the victim, without making automatic, unwarranted assumptions. Always be encouraging, but not unrealistic. Oh, you'll get over this soon. But don't promise them that. Attempt to be alert for opportunities to stress that the victim's qualities and strengths without patronizing them. Don't say, oh, you're so brave. But say, man, to tell me that must have took a lot of strength. There's a difference in the way we present it and the way we talk about it. Do accept the fact that they may never know whether the victim follows through with your recommendations. You may never know that they're ever going to go through with what you're telling them. Offer to make referral calls, contacts to find somebody else to provide them extra resources and support. Ask for assistance from a supervisor or a team member if the situation appears to be too difficult for you to handle. Recognize that you're going to make mistakes and that increased communication skills comes from making those mistakes. Now, here's some don'ts. Don't you dare be judgmental. Don't blame the victim for the crime. Don't second guess how the victim reacted to the crime. Don't try to frame the victim's experiences to anything possibly similar to your own. It's essential to individualize each victim, each trauma, each reaction to that crime. Don't be over helpful by making decisions and choices for the victims, since no victim chooses to be victimized or has control over a violent act over their lives, and make decisions affecting their lives becomes very, very important for them. Don't be afraid of silence. Silence is huge. Sometimes silence is powerful. Just sit there. Anything else? Anything else on your mind? What's that make you think about? And don't be afraid of those pauses. Sometimes, who was it? Judge Judy that says you have 2 ears, one mouth. So we listen twice as much as we talk. We need to use that all the time, that little rule. Never talk more than the victim. Never become frustrated by the victim's anxiety or urgency. I was counseling somebody in my office just the other day, one of the doctor's daughters, that her husband brought 5, 6 people into their bedroom for sex with her. And she divorced him. And she's still traumatized by that. And when I was listening, at first, she was twirling her hair like crazy. She could not stop twirling her hair. And she was doing this with her fingers. And it was so evident of what was going on. And then I just started talking. I said, this isn't so bad, is it? Talking about this. No, I'm getting better at this. Let's talk some more. What'd that make you feel like? You didn't want 4 or 5 other women in that same bedroom with your husband, did you? No. And before long, her hands went down by her side. And she sent me a text. I wish I had time to find it. I'd read it to you. That I can't wait till our next session because I was so scared, but now I feel so safe. That's all it takes, is not judging, condemning, looking down, thinking you know it all. Just get on their level and eyeball and talk and listen, listen, listen. Some good things to say. How can I help you? Man, I'm sorry. I believe that happened. What happened? That was not your fault. Nothing you did justified that to happen to you. Do you have any concerns for your safety now? You're not going crazy. That's why I wrote the book, because when I stood at the mirror one night when I was about 24 years old, pulling my hair out, I thought I was going crazy. I'm starting to realize a lot of people stand at the mirror and pull their hair out. So that's why I put it in the book. Not to say, oh, poor Greg. No, to let you recognize that if you're going through it, you're not crazy. I went through it too.
Mhm.
I don't know, but I'll find out. If you don't have the answers, don't promise you'll get it, but I'll try to find out the answer to that one. I can't possibly understand what you're going through, but I want to be here for you. Bad things to say. I understand exactly what you're going through. I went through it too. No, every case is different. I know how you feel. No, you don't. Even like at the funeral, I heard people say last night, if I'm lying, I'm dying. Oh, he's in a better place. No, he's not. He may be in heaven, but that's not what they need to hear. He's not in a better place. That widow, the best place for that widow, for her husband to be, is with her. So we can't say some of those, I know how you feels. Oh, move on, put it behind you. Oh, come on. If I were in your shoes, at least you weren't hurt. Please. It was God's will. Don't ever blame this on God. Oh, you should forgive them. That's their choice. Talk about forgiveness sometime down the road, but forgiveness isn't something they want to talk about right now. And time heals all wounds. Eh, not for me, it doesn't. I just learned how to deal with it better. It could be worse. Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess I could have had 2 nights of this every week. Why didn't you do this? Oh, get on with your life. Avoid using generalizations in comparison to other victims that you know. Effective listening. Listen is a mental process. There's a real difference between hearing and listening. Listening, active listening, assumes an understanding of what they're saying. So there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, wait, let me understand this. Are you saying that you felt like that? I'm not quite understanding what you're telling me. Explain it again so I can understand it. I need to understand more. That active listening and the selective listening is a skill of focusing on the words that reveal your client's needs and problems. Selective listening highlights your client's objectives. The thing that distinguishes between selective listeners is their ability to go beyond the spoken word and hear underlining motivation. Give your victim complete attention. Never pick up your cell phone and look at it while you're talking to somebody. Are you kidding me? Don't even do this with your wife at dinner or your husband at dinner. Leave your phone in the car. Don't do it when you're talking to your kids. Please. Now that we have the phones, don't do this. Because if you're checking your phone message or you're checking the time, either one of those is rude. Take it off, leave it in the desk drawer. I want to give my people that I talk to that trust in me to share an hour of their time with me. I want to give them 100% of my time to them. They deserve it, and they don't deserve the lack of respect. Responsive listening is sometimes called reactive listening because you react to some points. As you talk, you endorse. Yeah. You reinforce. I hear you. I hear you. Verbal feedback. Yeah. Okay. I see. It lets you know you're still in the game with them, that you're responding to them. If you take notes, ask permission to take notes. Hey, is all right? Verify thoughts and feelings. Empathetic listening. Put yourself in your client's shoe. Confirm what you hear. So what you're telling me, back to the young lady I counseled the other day. So what you're telling me, while he was there, he wanted and did invite 4 or 5 other women. Yeah, can you believe that? and it let them know, okay, I'm on the same page with you. I didn't mishear you. And this could be as I land the plane. The most important part of this entire session. I want you to hear this. Put down your cell phone. Don't check your bingo game right now for extra bonus chips or whatever you're doing. Look right here. This could be something that's the most important part of the day. I do this with every presentation. I always try to find something that's really vital in life. And here, you ready? Here we go. Always trust your gut. Always trust your gut. Men, we don't have that extra sense like these women do. What's the men want to know? Where's the remote? With me? When's dinner? But women, I have had, and I don't want to get emotional because this one gets me emotional quick. I've had so many parents on the other side of my desk that I counsel that have said, I knew I shouldn't have let my daughter spend the night that night. I knew something was wrong. I knew. And that gut, and I don't want to get religious here, but that gut is a divine alarm clock that parents have inside of you. And when that alarm clock goes off, trust it. Trust it. 50% of the time? No, 100% of the time. Now, let's bring this into human trafficking here. Let's put different eyes on. If you're dealing with somebody and it automatically comes up inside of you, wait, there may be something wrong here. Then don't turn off that alarm. Don't hit the snooze button. Oh, that would be embarrassing. Oh, I maybe not. Oh no, look at the clothes she's wearing. No, trust your gut. It's that extra, I don't know, feeling that we are given that comes from a higher power that we need to make sure. I've done this even driving. Police officers, when it's your gut to go, oh, wait, I better unsnap that on my gun. You better unsnap that gun. Trust it. It's somebody, something, your creator saying, be careful. Warning, warning. You know, my first wife came home, drove in the parking lot or in the driveway, and I was out playing basketball with my boys many years ago. And the car was smoking. I mean, I'm talking about the engine was smoking. And I said, what's going on, hon? Well, something's wrong with the car. She said, the oil light's on. I said, the oil light's on. Yeah, she said, yeah, it's been on for about 3 weeks. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. And she said, oh, but I thought when it was really bad, it would start flashing. No, no. It's the same way when you're dealing with your gut. It's not going to knock you out of a chair. It's going to be that little small voice that comes up inside of your head that says, wait, I'm not going home the normal way today. Or wait, I need to turn around, go back and find out what's going on with that person on the street corner. Or wait, that person just said a key word. Don't overlook it. Act on it. Go to another room, call security, call police, and say, I think I have a situation here. I need some help. Always trust your gut. And parents, this is free, won't cost you anything extra. God didn't give you your children to be their best friend.
Yes.
God gave you your children to be their protector. to give them safe boundaries, to give them discipline. It's your job to be able to put those boundaries around them. If they have a midnight curfew, then make sure they're home by midnight. Don't, oh, I'll let the kids have a good time tonight. Ah, no curfew tonight. Watch your kids walk out the house going, hey, yeah. But on the way to the car, they're going to go, what's wrong with mom? Does she not love us anymore?
Oh,
You have those boundaries. And when that gut goes off, act on it because it will save lives.